Good afternoon, baseball fans, and welcome to this edition of NCAA Regional Baseball here on ACTV. Game number 7 of the tournament here in the winner's bracket between Shenandoah University and the College of Wooster. Robbie Alexander, joined by my colleague and color commentator Cody Alexander. Bit of weather has moved into the area, but it looks to be holding off and at least tapering away for the start of this one. We'll see if we can get it in before the rain comes. Stepping up to the plate is the second baseman Jake Stursma for the Fighting Scots. And we are set to begin game number 7, first game of the winner's bracket. Robert Clinshock on the mound, first pitch, and it hits the outside black for strike one.
Well, Clinshock has 13 appearances on the year. 12 of those have been starts. He brings a 6-3 record into this contest with 60 innings pitched, 39 strikeouts to 30 walks, so he does have some control issues, and a 5.4 ERA.
It's 1-1 on Stursma right now. The pitch. It's a fly ball into shallow center field. Baker backing up and will settle it in his glove for out number 1. I'll bring up the center fielder, Jake Fling. Fling 0 for 5 in yesterday's game as he takes a heater high for ball 1. Couple of good games so far today. Wabash knocked off Marietta in game number 1 of the day by a score of 4-2. And the last one, we saw it go to 12 innings. Ithaca finally downed Otterbein by a score of 6-5 on an unconventional walk-off infield single. As we mentioned, there's been some rain in the area. Ground ball to the shortstop and slipped, fell right on his butt. The winning run came in to score. So both Marietta and Otterbein eliminated from this tournament. Clinshock puts that one in the turf. 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Fling.
Yeah, and it was really a disappointing way to end the game. Just a ground ball. Looked like we were going to go to the 13th. Just a slip by the sure-gloved Ben Beachy over at shortstop for the Otterbein Cardinals. And like you said, Robbie, he just slipped and couldn't get the throw there in time. So a very tough way to end the season for Otterbein.
Nonetheless, both teams that bowed out today, nitty-gritty performances, and showed why they belong in this tournament. Fling sends that one into center field. Delaverne comes in and will make out number 2. So a quick 2 outs now, and I'll bring up the shortstop Michael Wilansky. 1 for 3 in yesterday's game with an RBI and a run scored. First pitch from Clinshock. Outside for ball 1.
Wilansky also scored his 200th career run, which puts him in rarefied air. Only the second known player in Division III history with 200 hits, 200 runs, and 150 runs batted in before the end of his junior year. Currently sits at 222 career hits, 200 career runs, and 152 career RBI.
Be interesting to see what the Wooster shortstop can do to finish it. There's almost a collision there in the field. It's going to be Clinshock that will finally settle it in his glove. 1-2-3 inning goes the Fighting Scots. We'll head to the bottom of the first. Scoreless here in game number 7. We'll be right back with more Mideast Regional Baseball here on ACTV. Welcome back. Bottom of the first inning here in game number 7 between Shenandoah University and the College of Wooster. Scoreless as the pitcher Nanik Saran takes the mound for the Fighting Scots. And stepping up to the plate is the right fielder Grant Thompson.
Saran has 11 starts on the year and has a great body of work so far, an 8-2 record and a 2.8 ERA. In 64 and a third innings pitched, he's only surrendered 48 hits, 20 earned runs, and he also has 59 strikeouts to only 34 walks.
First pitch to Thompson in the turf for ball 1. There's a ground ball, a couple skips and a hop to the first baseman Crum. And he will flip on to Saran for out number 1. That'll bring up the second baseman, Tristan Baker. Baker 2 for 5 in yesterday's ball game. Shenandoah beat Marietta College by a score of 3-2 in that one. Scored a run in the first, 2 runs in the second, and that's all they need. Marietta staged a comeback, scoring runs in the 6th and 7th. Could not score that elusive third run to tie it up. 1-0 from Saran. Hits that one into right field. Torno giving chase towards the fence and will make it. Crash up against the wall for out number 2. So 2 quick outs, and it's going to bring up the first baseman, Luke Nussman. Nussman 1 for 4 in yesterday's ball game with an RBI, also walked. He'll take his place in the left-hander's batter's box. First pitch, a fastball, strike 1.
Saran's delivery already reminding me of someone we saw yesterday, Trey Thomas of La Roche. They both kind of have a similar arm action, kind of pulling that right elbow back like a bow before coming through. That's kind of the arm action that you see from Washington Nationals pitcher Max Scherzer. A lot of doctors think that his arm is going to blow out one day, but still being an effective major league ace.
And just like Thomas, Saran throwing straight gas right now. Has Nussman down in the count 1-2. Fans him off there. Nussman went fishing, but no bass in the pond, and the Fighting Scots, the Hornets go 1-2-3 in the first. No runs on no hits for either side, and we'll head to the top of the inning scoreless. Keep it tuned right here to ACTV. Welcome back to Game 7 of the Mideast Regional between Shenandoah and Wooster. Scoreless in the top of the second. As Hornets pitcher Robert Klinchak retakes the mound. First pitch to Harwood, right back up the box. That's a base hit for the designated hitter. first base runner of the game for either side. And with that, the first baseman, Garrett Crum, strides up to bat. Lining up defensively for the Hornets. Smallwood throwing down the signs behind the dish. Newsman at first base, Baker at second. Rice holding the bag at third, Marcel at short. And in the outfield, left to right, Good, Delaverne, and Thompson to round things off. First pitch to Crum, just above the turf for ball one. Glenshock working that first base side of the rubber. 1-0 in the turf, blocked, but Harwood's going to take off for second. No throw. And Wooster with a man in scoring position.
A nice read there by Harwood. That ball did not get away from the catcher Smallwood at all. But he got the early jump and is now in scoring position.
2-0 is the count on Garrett Crum. Pitch from Glenshock, fouls that one off of his shin, and it's 2-1.
Well, Crum hitting .373 on the year with 65 runs batted in. He's also scored 44 himself. Added to that, 13 doubles and 9 home runs for a .589 slugging percentage.
A quick mound visit to give Crum a couple extra seconds to mend that left shin. 2-1 is the count.
Here's the thing, Robbie. With a .373 average, Crum would lead most teams in hitting. But Harwood hitting .383 on the year, and the three-hitter Michael Lansky hitting .400 so far. Wooster as a team hitting .355, which is just unheard of.
There's a hard hit ball into right center. That's going to fall for a base hit. Harwood hits the bag at third. He'll be stopped. The Fighting Scots have runners on the corners with nobody out. I was just going to add, they also have some power, 54 home runs, and out of the 8 teams in this regional, they might be the best hitting team. So they've squared up 2 great pitches right there.
Well, I'm just waiting for them to hit one out. We've only seen 1 home run so far in this tournament. That was last night in the Otterbein-Adrian game. I'm sure that we'll see a Wooster hitter put one out before this weekend is over.
Well, that one's out, but it's a foul ball by the catcher Harrison Walls. Walls was not the starter in the first game yesterday against Wabash. He had a pinch hit appearance, 0 for 1. He gets the nod today, and it's a high chopper over to third base. Flip on to second for 1, relay to first, not in time. Harwood's going to come in to score the first run of the ball game, and Wooster with an early 1-0 advantage. So I'll bring up the right fielder, Drew Torno. Torno 1 for 3 yesterday with the run scored in that 4-2 Wooster victory over the rival Wabash Little Giants. Wooster, just like Shenandoah, early scoring yesterday, 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. That was all they would need, as Wabash, 1 in the second, 1 in the sixth. They would get no closer. Drop that one by a score of 4-2. And Torno quickly in the hole, 0-2.
Torno's hitting .314 on the year. Another Fighting Irish hitter hitting over 300. Has scored 46 runs and also hit 7 out of the park. Actually a son of Wooster alumnus Brian Torno, his father. And he also played baseball for the current head coach Tim Petrorini from 1988 to 1981. So a little bit of Wooster baseball in that bloodline.
He goes fishing right there, can't connect. Runner off for second, he's gonna slip between the base paths. And Smallwood's going to chase him down. Now I flip to second base, and Marcel chasing him. He's going to win that battle as they both hit the deck. Slick field out there. And an unconventional double play by Shenandoah ends the inning.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the runner thought that he had to go with the runner on first, even though it was a ball in the dirt and a strikeout. He didn't have to go. He kind of stopped halfway, so either he forgot how many outs there were, he wasn't, I guess he just didn't remember the rule there, but an unfortunate break for Wooster.
Almost a delayed steal that just didn't pan out, but the Fighting Scots pick up a run in the top half of the inning. It is a 1-0 Wooster lead, and when we come back, we'll see how Shenandoah responds. It's all coming up right here on ACTV. One to nothing Fighting Scots lead here in the bottom of inning number 2. We'll see how the Shenandoah Hornets respond. 4-5-6 due up. Starting with the designated hitter, number 60, Keegan Wolford. Wolford 1 for 3 in yesterday's contest against Marietta. First pitch from Saran. The fastball finds the upper corner for strike 1. Keegan bends the knees out of the way, but finds that inner black. Quickly in a hole now, 0-2.
Wolford hitting .348 on the year, slugging .658. He's driven in 65 runs so far, 10 home runs, 18 doubles.
He puts a charge into that one, deep into left field. Strasbaugh going back, and it's over his head and up against the wall. Wolford heads to second, and it's a leadoff double for the Hornets.
With that 19 doubles, an 0-2 pitch that Saran just leaves up. And Wolford, a nice job of just staying inside that ball and just burning Strasbaugh out there in left field.
But we saw Ithaca and Otterbein go tit for tat in their game at 1:15. It looks like this one might follow suit.
Well, Shenandoah does have a bit of history on their side. They are 7-0 on the year when wearing the white uniforms. 8-4 while wearing the white cap. They have never worn the two together though, so this is new for them. Also 4-2 on Fridays, 31-8 in day games, although this will probably move into the late evening at some point, and 31-10 on the year versus right-handed throwers.
That's right, we have the hookup up here in the booth. A big thank you to the Shenandoah SID director for giving us all of those stats. 0-2 on the catcher, Chase Smallwood. Oh for 2 in yesterday's contest. The pitch from Saran in the turf. That's going to get away from the catcher, Walls. Wolford heads up to third, and the potential tying run 90 feet away now.
Well, we saw that yesterday as well with the Wooster starting catcher Dan Gale. That one just right off the shin guard and bounces away. So just a bit of a tough 2 games so far for the Fighting Scots backstops.
2-2 is the count on Smallwood. The offering in the turf again. Walls blocks this one. Two and two. That one, 2 bouncer to the shortstop, throwing to first. That is out number 1, but Wolford comes in to score. We are all tied up at 1 apiece here in the second. They'll bring up the left fielder, Nick Good. Good 1 for 4 in yesterday's ball game with a run scored. Base is empty now for Shenandoah. First pitch from Saran. Fastball hits the inside corner for strike 1. That one paints the black. 0-2 now on Nick Good.
Speaking of what players are wearing on the field, rather, this was an umpire. Home plate, Kyle Reese, sporting the jacket, kind of a throwback to umpires of the 70s and 80s, if you think about it.
That was the first thing you noticed when they came out on the field before the game.
He's definitely styling back there.
Another pitch in the turf. Saran having trouble locating his off speed. It's 1-2.
Now, do you think he takes that jacket to a tailor to get it fitted? Or do you think he just walks into the store and they have pre-fitted jackets there?
I imagine he has it tailored. Looks to fit his frame pretty good as an appeal down to the first base umpire, Justin Birchie. It's 2-2 now on Good. Like we said, a bit of weather in the area. So both stylish and serving a purpose. That one fouled back towards the Shenandoah dugout.
I mean, I'm wearing a jacket up here, but if Reese wants to trade, I'd certainly be up for that. Do you think that is a multi-purpose jacket? Do you think he could wear that to a black tie event?
Well, I don't see why not. Another fastball. This one rides inside. Count full now, 3-2. Payoff pitch. Fouls that one straight back, and he'll stay alive. 64 degrees, the game time temperature. Soft wind blowing from right field to left field. Like we said, weather expected to be in the area tonight, but should stay dry for this game. The 3-2. Another foul ball, this one towards the back 40. Count remains the same.
It's actually cooled off a bit since the start of today's game, too. That was about 69 degrees and sunny at first pitch. Like Robbie said, a little bit of precipitation has cooled things down at the Nick.
And Saran loses Good right there, and the Hornets have a man on first with 1 out. So up now is the third baseman, Christian Rice. Rice 2 for 4 in yesterday's ball game with an RBI. First pitch. Fastball at the knees, strike 1.
Rice hitting .278 coming into this contest. 10 RBI, 11 runs scored, also 3 doubles.
0-1 pitch. Just a bit inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Throw over to first keeps him honest. Well, lining up defensively for the for the Fighting Scots. Walls calling the signs behind the dish. Crum at first base. Sturzma at second. Whitwer Dukes holds down the bag at third. Wilansky over at shortstop. And in the outfield, left to right, Strasbaugh, Fling, and Torno to round things off. The 1-1, runner off for second base. Throw from Walls. It's going to be high and not in time. Stolen base for Nick Good.
Nothing really that Walls could do there. Good with such a great jump. Hand on the bag before the throw even found the glove of Sturzma.
Two and one is the count on Christian Rice, so-called time. Pitch from Nanak Saran. Fouls that one back towards the dugout. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, as we saw earlier with Otterbein, they sported the stirrups, but they had the stripes, getting back to fashion here. But the Wooster athletes who are going with the high socks look are sporting the solid stirrup tonight.
You think stirrup socks are classic when you have just the solid one with the high ankle. That's throwing it back to the 70s right there.
Pair that up with Reese's jacket. Get a few mustaches on these players, maybe the long hair. I mean, we are on a turf field, definitely better than the AstroTurf that they saw back in the 70s. A little more forgiving.
It's almost like we're going to be at Disco Demolition Night.
Have ourselves a good old bicentennial ball game. Adrian College does offer a fashion merchandising degree here, but I was not one of those. I was a sport management major.
Saran can't locate that curveball. 3-2 now on Rice.
But I mean, obviously, coaching staffs put a lot into how their players look on the field. The host, Adrian College, 4 different uniforms that they could put on at any moment.
Rice draws the walk. Runners on first and second with 1 out. Now bring up the shortstop, Robbie Marcel. 1 for 4 in yesterday's game with a run scored. Well, some coaches let their pitchers choose which uniform they're going to wear. Sometimes not letting your pitcher do that can backfire, as we saw a couple years ago with White Sox, now Red Sox pitcher Chris Sale, when he decided to do a little alteration on both his uniform and the rest of his teammates. Of course, he was suspended quickly after that.
What was it? Wasn't it a throwback day?
It was a throwback.
And he decided to take scissors.
It was those white, very baggy uniforms that the White Sox wear occasionally.
I didn't understand it when it happened. I mean, he's getting paid all that money. You think that he'd just wear the uniform, but decided that he was going to try his tailoring skills.
Must have desired maximum comfort. Of course, he found comfort in his couch for the next couple of days as he had to watch his White Sox play on the television. 0-2 count now on Marcel. Pitch from Saran. Fastball rings him up at the belt. He was caught window shopping there. 2 outs now on the Hornets.
Well, Saran cruised through the first inning, 1-2-3. Had a 2-strike count on Wolford before hanging his 2-strike pitch. He smashed that into left field, eventually came across to score. And then 2 straight walks, but that at-bat there made quick work of Marcel, and looking like he did back in the first.
So that will bring up the number 9 hitter, center fielder Henry Delaverne. Delaverne 1 for 3 in yesterday's contest. Net good on second base. Christian Rice on first. Pickoff throw. Small crowd out on the center field hill.
I don't see any umbrellas, though. That might be an issue later.
Nah, I see a few kids running around out there, though. They must have claimed their own territory.
Well, the Hornets center fielder batting 9th in this contest, but by no means a slouch with the bat, coming in with a 314, 405, 494 slash line. Has driven in 28 runs, looking to make it 29 and drive good in from second.
Said he takes a strike at the knees. Much like Marcel before him, quickly down in the count now, 0-2. Oh-2 pitch from Saran. That one tapped right over the head of the shortstop Wolanski and into center field. Good's gonna score, and the Hornets take a 2-1 lead here in the second inning.
That was not a bad pitch either by Saran with an 0-2 count, a little breaking ball down and away. And Delaverne just throws his bat out there, able to sneak it over the head of Wolanski. And Shenandoah jumps out on top.
So we head back to the top of the Shenandoah lineup. It's the right fielder, Grant Thompson. Ground out to the first baseman, his first time up. First pitch in the turf, gonna roll away from Walls, but runners will hold. Two hits now for both ball clubs. The 1-0. Big cut there by Thompson. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sturzma playing deep in the hole over at second base. He's about 4 or 5 steps in the shallow right field. Saran bluffs a move to second. Rice back with no contest.
Swing out in center field, also shaded towards right, so a big left center gap.
So he's gonna roll that one over to the first baseman. Crum has it. They'll step on the bag for out number 3, but not before Shenandoah scores 2 in response. And take a 2-1 lead as we head to the top of the third. We'll be right back with more Hornets versus Fighting Scots baseball here on ACTV. 8-9-1 due up for Wooster as they saw their 1-0 lead disappear quickly. Shenandoah holds on 2-1 right now as we head to the top of the third inning. 2 hits for both sides. And up now is the left fielder, Nick Strasbaugh. Crenshaw takes a little off of that fastball, but can't find the zone. 1-0.
Well, Strasbaugh hitting .359 on the season. He's driven in 25 runs, scored 22 himself. Also has 11 doubles, 3 home runs, and has stolen 9 bases in 10 attempts.
Swings through that off-speed pitch. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Fooled again on that off speed. Looked like a changeup right there. A quick 1 out for Shenandoah. Second strikeout in a row for Clinshock, second of the game as well. And I'll bring up the third baseman, Harry Whitworth Dukes. Dukes 2 for 3 in yesterday's game. Scored a run in that 4-2 victory. And watch a fastball graze the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, we saw yesterday's pitcher, Chandler Dittman, go the complete game. And usually when he's not pitching, he's over playing third base. But it looks like Whitworth Dukes did such a great job that his coach had no choice but to start him again today.
We'll send a sky-high pop-up on the infield. Rice and Marcel going for it. Marcel has to take a couple steps backwards as the wind caught it. They'll still settle it for out number 2.
It's kind of funny, too. Yesterday in the press conference after their victory over Wabash, we saw, or rather we heard Coach Petterini say that we were probably going to see Dittman at the hot corner today.
It's always good as a coach to know you have depth on the bench. That's a big reason Wooster has been at the top of the rankings all season. That heater hangs low. 2 balls and no strikes on the leadoff man, Jake Sturzma. Popped out to second base to start the game. Pitch from Clinshock in the turf. 3 balls and no strikes.
Well, Sturzma hitting .346 on the season, has scored 52 runs, has also driven in 34.
That one hits the outer black. 3-1.
Earlier in the year, he strung together a 19-game hitting streak that coincided with the first 19 game of the Fighting Scots 20-game winning streak, going 36 for 81 in that span with 31 runs scored and 14 RBI.
He puts that one into left field, down the line for a base hit, maybe even more. Big turn at first. He's going for it. And he will be in with a 2-out double.
Just a hanger there that he gets around and just ropes into left field. Kind of banged around off the wall down there before Good could settle it in his glove and make the throw. He was already into second.
It's the center fielder, Jake Fling, with a 2-out RBI opportunity now. First pitch, low and inside for ball 1. Fling flew out to center field his first time up. Another fastball. This time it hangs high. 2 balls and no strikes. Offering to fling. It's a ground ball over to shortstop. Marcel ranges towards third, and a nice pick on the other hand by Newsman to complete it. Wooster gets a 2-out double, but leave him there, and we'll head to the bottom of inning number 3. 2-1 Shenandoah lead. And don't touch the clicker, because we'll be right back with more NCAA baseball on ACTV. Second baseman Tristan Baker set to lead things off here in the bottom of inning number 3. 2-1 Shenandoah lead. Nanik Saran retakes the rubber. First pitch. Curveball misses low. 1-0 now. Baker a fly out to right field so far in this game. The pitch inside. 2-0 now on Baker. Finds the outer half of the plate, 2-1.
Baker hitting .352 this year with 33 RBI and 51 scored. 51 runs scored, which leads the team.
He puts a ground ball through the left side hole. Leadoff single for the Hornets.
Well, we talked about the offensive statistics as a team for Wooster, but Shenandoah right there up with them. A .329 average as a team, a .467 slugging percentage, 29 home runs, which certainly isn't the 54 of the Fighting Scots, but it is up there for a Division III team.
Definitely can swing a hot stick, as a majority of their starting lineup has over a .300 average.
As we've said before, and I'm sure we'll say again over the course of this weekend, a lot of good hitting teams in this Mideast Regional.
Oh, and 1 the count on the first baseman, Luke Newsman. Struck out his first time up to end the inning. There's another ground ball. This one under the glove of Whitworth Dukes. Wolanski will make a diving stop to keep it on the infield. But a bit of a miscue right there puts Hornets on first and second with nobody out.
Yeah, off the bat it looked like that was going to be a tailor-made double play. But right under the glove of Whitworth Dukes, I think he might have peeked up at second base before actually fielding that ball. And in turn, his glove lifted off the turf.
Well, that was ruled a hit by the official scorer, so make it 4 so far for Shenandoah.
Play that should have been made, really, though.
It's a designated hitter, Keegan Wolford, up to bat. Watches a ball outside. 1 for 1 so far with a double. Scored the first Hornet run of the day. He has an RBI opportunity now. 1-0 pitch. Ground ball down the line, but foul.
Wooster has turned 42 double plays this year. Including a couple yesterday, so certainly capable of getting out of this inning with really no damage at all.
Here's his 1-1 pitch. A fastball that's out of the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Wolford, 348 on the year. He leads the team with 10 home runs and 65 RBI.
Well, despite the impending weather tonight, still a great crowd here at Nicolay Field. Both teams, and really all 8 teams in this tournament, traveling well. So that fastball hits the inside black. 2-2 now.
Well, lucky for them, they have roofs over their head in the stands. Of course, at Nicolay Field, both the first base side and the third base side stands are located above the dugouts. There's a covered tin roof above their heads that keep them warm and dry.
Wolford goes fishing for that one, but can't find anything. And all he'll end up with was the first out of the bottom of inning number 3. So I'll bring up Chase Smallwood now.
3 strikeouts now on the day for Saran. And really, he hasn't made too many bad pitches. There have been a few hits that the Hornets hitters have gotten that they just hit good pitches. There was, I think, one in the last inning. I can't remember who it was, but a 2-strike pitch, a breaking ball down and away, and he was just able to float it out into left field.
Yeah, doing a good job mixing up his fastball with his off-speed and secondary pitches. Locating the fastball better than the rest of them, but still making good use of everything in his repertoire. 1-0 pitch, both runners going, throw down to third. And Baker out by a countrywide mile for out number 2.
Yeah, double steal on there for the Hornets. But not a great jump by Baker. And like you said, Robbie, he was out by a good 5 steps.
Strong throw by Walls, right on the money. There's now a man on only second base. 2 outs in the inning now, and a 1-1 count on Smallwood. Pitch from Saran. That one up the middle. That's going to find its way through for a base hit. Newsman's going to hit the bag, head home. Throw from Fling, cut off. It's an RBI single for Chase Smallwood, second RBI of the day. And Shenandoah with a 3-1 lead. Quick conversation at the mound between Saran and Walls. 5 hits for Shenandoah, 3 runs.
Again, not a hard hit ball. But these Hornet hitters not trying to do too much, just puts that one right back up the box. And with 2 outs, able to score their 3rd run of the ball game.
Up in the box now is the left fielder Nick Good. Reached on a walk his first time up, would later come around to score on the RBI single by Henry Delaverne. He's up in the count right now, 1-0. Second pitch, outside to the backstop. Smallwood's gonna take advantage of it. He is now in scoring position with 2 outs.
It's a breaking pitch that he snaps off a little too hard. Nothing Walls could do to block that one.
The mound visit now for the Wooster infield. And once again, become a common theme in the tournament. 3rd inning, a mound visit from a coach.
Well, 55 pitches so far for Saran. 36 strikes. He has a couple walks. Only one of them has come around to score. And although this is not an elimination game, it would certainly be big if they could win this one and stay in the winner's bracket. Because as soon as you go to the loser's bracket, you don't know what's going to happen. We've already seen the number 2 team in Otterbein and the number 4 team in Marietta get knocked off today.
(2-0) is the count on Nick Good. Off speed, misses inside. 3 balls and no strikes. As you were saying, both of those games upsets, at least as seeding goes, but once you get to the tournament, that seeding you can pretty much throw out the window after that opening round because it's anybody's title to take.
And ironically enough, the 2 teams that were knocked off were the 2 of the teams in this region that received at-large bids. The 2 teams that beat them were teams that won their conference, with Wabash winning the NCAA and Ithaca, who beat Otterbein in the game before this, winning the Empire 8 conference title.
3-1 is the count on Nick Good. Pitch from Saran. That one's sent into center field. Fling chasing. That's going to fall and go up and on the top of the fence. Stays in play. 1 run will score, and it's a 2-out RBI double for Nick Good.
Well, a perfect hitter's count for Good, and he just waits back on that 3-1 pitch. One of the few times so far in this tournament that we've seen a hitter able to successfully split the gap and have it go all the way to the wall. Almost bounced over for an automatic double. He ends up on second anyways.
That thing ended up on top of the center field fence. And from that point, it was an act of God whether it was going to go over or stay in the ballpark. Either way, a double, and either way, a 4-1 Hornets lead. And up to the plate now is the 3rd baseman, Christian Rice, who walked his first time up. First pitch from Saran. Sends a 4-seamer right into the mid of walls for strike 1.
Well, Wolford with his double back in the second actually tied Good for most on the team at 19. Nick Good going up there saying, I want to have the doubles title. He now sits at 20 on the year.
Rice fouls that one back, 0-2. Well, competition between the 2 teams, but also friendly competition among teammates. It's a free market for the starting jobs, and these players taking full advantage of it, and their stats are showing that.
And not what I expected to see today. Saran holding hitters coming into this contest to a .206 average, which was second in the NCAA. But Shenandoah already putting 6 hits up on the board.
That inning will come to a close as Rice strikes out. 4th strikeout of the day for Saran, but not before Shenandoah scores 2 more make it a 4-1 lead as we head to the top of inning number 4. And when we come back, it's the heart of the order due up for Wooster. We'll see how they respond. Keep it tuned right here to ACTV. Top of inning number 4 here in game number 7 of the NCAA Regional Tournament. If you're just joining us, Robbie Alexander here, joined by my colleague Cody Alexander. 4-1 Hornets lead over the Fighting Scots. Shenandoah scored 2 in the second, 2 in the third. And Wooster looking to battle back now. Check single off the bat of Wolanski into right field, and the leadoff man is aboard.
Well, it doesn't matter how you get on as long as you get on. Although he didn't even finish his swing, Wolanski just good enough. Puts that one right through the right side hole.
So that'll bring up the designated hitter, Dan Harwood. Single and a run scored so far. That's the only Wooster run so far. Fourth hit of the day for the Fighting Scots. Pitch from Clinchock. A bender manages to swipe through the zone, much to the dismay of the Wooster fans. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, Harwood, 14 home runs on the year. Also has 16 doubles for a .726 slugging percentage and has driven in 70 runs.
He's fooled on that off speed. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. That one just misses outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pickoff move over to first, keeping Wolanski honest. That one falls out of the zone below the knees. 3 balls and 2 strikes now on the designated hitter, Harwood. Another pickoff move to first, keeping him honest. This game taking place at Nicolay Field in Adrian, Michigan, an all-turf field, including the mound. A 4-piece fiberglass mound covered in turf. Brand new this year to the stadium, and pitchers have loved it so far.
It's because there's no mound maintenance, no holes that can be dug. So pitchers have that consistent landing point.
Wolanski out for second base, swing and a miss by Harwood. Wolanski swipes the bag, but Harwood down on strikes for out number 1.
That particular mound out there is a 4-piece fiberglass mound and costs somewhere in the ballpark of $11,000. So if you're considering getting one for your team, You're going to have to do a little fundraising.
Just as the Bulldog baseball team did. Now it's not immune to slippage as the rain started coming down at the end of the Ithaca Otterbein game. Both pitchers slipping around out there. The one quirk to the mound to make sure it stays in pristine condition. Pitchers not allowed to wear cleats out there as they can in the rest of the field. They have to wear either turf shoes or tennis shoes. Garrett Crum up to the plate with the runner in scoring position. He sends a fly ball into center field. Delaverne backs up to the wall. Wolanski will tag, and they will cut it off. Fly ball gets him 90 feet away, but there's now 2 down.
What a bad hit ball. Just hits it to the wrong part. Literally dead center on that one. And Delaverne back against the wall almost when he caught that one.
First pitch to the catcher, Harrison Walls. Not able to check his swing, and it's 0-1. Well, much like Comerica Park, where the Detroit Tigers play, a deep center field here at Nicolay Field, and you could put a charge into one, but with all of that real estate out there, it's most likely going to end up an out. That one put down the right field line, but foul. Over to the Adrian Bulldogs, who are starting to congregate out there. They have a game against La Roche right after this one.
Well, it's 3:20 down the lines here at Nicolay Field, 375 in the gaps, 400 to dead center, so you're really going to have to poke one out there. I think, Robbie, you and I have only seen one person hit a home run out there. That was former Adrian shortstop Ryan Doro, who now plays in the Texas Rangers system. Hit a line drive right over the wall, but other than that, we haven't seen anybody go deep in that part of the park.
Takes a special player to hit one out there.
And who knows, with the power that we've seen so far and the statistics that we've been handed, we might see one by the end of the weekend.
Seen a lot of squared up balls so far. Like you said, only one home run, but that could change. That one drilled into the gap, track wall. That one is off the base of the wall. One fighting Scott is going to score to cut the lead in half. And the RBI double by Harrison Walls makes it a 4-2 ball game.
Looks like a 2-2 breaker. That one was about middle. And Walls all over that one. Off the bat, looked like it was going to get out. A short hop off the wall. That tells you how close it got.
It was almost right on cue, as we were talking about. Only one home run so far in the tournament, but can almost guarantee that won't hold up by the time the weekend has ended.
Well, weather tonight not exactly conducive for the home run. A little colder than it has been, a little rainy, but the weather should perk up by Sunday.
Both these teams hoping to make it that far. A mound visit now for Shenandoah. 2 outs still, but a couple of base hits. And Wooster pulling that much closer to tying up this game. Now digging in is the right fielder, Drew Torno. Struck out his first time up to end the second inning. The man on second has a 2-out RBI opportunity. First pitch from Clinchock. Swinging for the fences there, but all he comes up with is strike one. Should he keep the inning alive, that'd bring up the left fielder, Nick Strasbaugh. The 0-1. Takes a little off there, and it's 0-2.
Clinchock will have to be careful not to hang one here.
Dust him off. 3 straight strikes to end the inning. The Fighting Scots gain back one more run, make it a 4-2 ball game. And we head to the bottom of inning number 4. 8-9-1 due up for Shenandoah when we come back. Keep it tuned right here. You're home for the 2018 NCAA Mideast Regionals. This is ACTV. Four to two, Shenandoah lead as we head to the bottom of inning number 4. 2 consecutive innings where they've scored 2 runs, and they're looking to do that one more time, if not more. The shortstop, Robbie Marcel, steps up to the plate, struck out looking his first time. That was back in the 2nd inning. First pitch from Saran, low for ball 1. That one chopped towards the Shenandoah dugout. Looks to be everybody okay down there. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1. Another foul ball. This one off the shin. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Marcel, Delaverne, and Thompson due up for the Hornets. 1-2 pitch from Saran in the turf and to the backstop, even at 2 now. The 2-2. On the turf, 3 balls and 2 strikes now. Well, Shenandoah, Old Dominion Athletic Conference champions after defeating Roanoke in their tournament, and Marcel takes that fastball in the turf for ball 4, leadoff man aboard. Now bring up the center fielder, Henry Delaverne, who has an RBI single so far in this contest. First pitch, shows bunt, pulls back. The second baseman, Sturzman, coming in to have a conversation. 2 runs on 5 hits for Wooster so far. 4 runs on 6 hits for the Hornets.
Quick little fact. This is the first time since 1999 that 3 teams from the North Coast Athletic Conference has been selected to compete in the NCAA tournament. This year was, of course, Wooster out here, who played Wabash, also from the conference. They ended up winning the conference tournament this year. And then Denison, who's competing in the South Regional this year, they actually dropped their first game yesterday to Chris Newport by a score of 5-1.
In that conference tournament, it was expected to be Denison and Wooster in the final. Wabash kind of surprising everybody by taking the title.
Yeah, and they won 3 games in that tournament. Started off by beating then-ranked 24 Denison, and then beat Wooster twice in a row. Wooster ranked 2nd going into that tournament, coming to this regional ranked 4th after dropping it. But they were able to come out on top yesterday, as we mentioned before, beating the Little Giants yesterday afternoon by a score of 4-2.
Will be interesting to see if these two teams face each other again. Another throw over to first base from Saran. 1-1 is the count on Delaverne. Time is called. Saran will throw it in anyways. Third base coach for Shenandoah didn't hear the time called. A little bit of confusion down on the field.
He was looking for the hand gesture from home plate umpire Kyle Reese.
Marcel steals second base. As Walls drops it on the transfer, and Shenandoah with a man in scoring position, nobody out. Corners now drawn in for Wooster. Scrum playing in on the grass. As well as the third baseman, Whitworth Dukes. Pitch from Saran showing bunt. That's going to ride in and hit him. Wooster saying that he didn't pull back the bunt attempt. Coach Pederini coming out to argue, but right now Shenandoah has runners on first and second.
Well, it looks like there's going to be a quick mound visit. No doubt that Delaverne pulled back on that one.
We're going to have a pitching change. Nanak Saran's day is done. And we'll let this mystery man get some warm-up throws in, find out who he is, where he's from, and what he's about. And we'll be back with more NCAA regional baseball here on ACTV. New pitcher for Wooster here in the bottom of inning number 4. It's number 8, Evan Faxon, taking over for Nanak Saran. 2 men on, nobody out. Shenandoah threatening to score once again.
Saran's on the hook for the runners at first and second. That's Marcel, who reached on a walk. Eventually stole second for his team, leading 21st swipe of the year. And Delaverne hit by the pitch on the bunt attempt.
Back to the top of the lineup. A foul bunt attempt off the bat of the right fielder, Grant Thompson, who's 0 for 2 so far. 2 groundouts to the first baseman.
Well, Faxon has 14 appearances on the year so far, an 0-2 record. He has 1 save. In 23 and a third innings pitched, he has struck out 16 batters, walked 12, and owns a 5.79 ERA.
Showing bunt again, will pull back. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Kind of an unorthodox form by Thompson. If you look when he squares, he sinks. His knees are almost touching the ground. That's how much he crouches.
Well, they say flex with the knees. He's going above and beyond the call of duty with that. As he puts that one down the third base side, Faxon will go for first, and he gets him by half a step. Thompson thought he was safe. Either way, the sacrifice bunt works, and there are now 2 men in scoring position with 1 out.
That's exactly how you want to bunt the ball. A little extreme with the flexing of the knees, but if you looked, Robbie, he had that bat head out in front of the plate, looked it in the whole way, and almost got a base hit out of it.
Took a strong throw from Faxon to nab him. And it's the second baseman, Tristan Baker, up to bat now. 1 for 2 with a single and a fly out. First pitch fastball high for ball 1.
That's usually one of the 2 things that young hitters get wrong when they try to bunt a baseball. Either they try to just drop the bat head on a low pitch instead of give with the knees, but also for some reason, they want to keep that bat close and back in the zone rather than getting it out in front of their body so that they can watch it all the way in and kind of catch it. And again, that was picture perfect form by Thompson.
Baker is even in the count now. 1 ball and 1 strike with 1 out. Pitch from Faxon. Off speed, high, 2 balls and 1 strike. Crum playing well off the bag on first base. But where Dukes on the infield grass still. Big cut there, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Faxon gets his sign from Walls. The 2-2. He fouls that one back into the parking lot. Count remains the same. Still no shattered windshields.
It was in I believe it was the first game yesterday, the Shenandoah Marietta game. Can't remember who was hitting at that point. We've mentioned it every broadcast, but I still can't believe it happened. One of them fouled a ball off. It ended up hitting the stadium lights and knocking one of them out. We heard the big glass shattered. Luckily, Adrian College plant department was able to get out here before the nightcap of day 1 and fix that light. And as you can see, all of them are working right now in this overcast Friday evening.
Shining bright as a diamond, as Rihanna would say. And another mound visit. Walls goes out to talk to Faxon. Well, Shenandoah 2 runs scored in the second inning, 2 in the third. Wooster with 1 in the second, 1 in the fourth. That's where we sit right now. 4-2 ball game. But The Hornets threatening again with 2 men in scoring position, only 1 out. The pitch to Baker, a little bloop into right field, and out of the glove of the first baseman. A rare error there by Wooster, and Crum not happy with himself. Bases now loaded for Shenandoah with 1 out.
Yeah, and from up here, it looked like rather than turning and running like an outfielder, Crum just backed up, kind of fell back on his heels, and ended up catching that ball on the heel of his glove, so it dropped out. But that's a pop-up. It was further enough behind him where he should have turned his shoulders and ran to get that ball. Instead, he went after it just going straight backwards, ended up off balance, and that is why he dropped the ball.
So Faxon now has to deal with the heart of the Shenandoah lineup. It's Luke Newsman who hits a ground ball over to second base. He'll go to second for 1. Relay. And a nice pick on the other end. 4-6-3 double play ends the threat. And the Hornets leave the field with no runs scored, but still a 4-2 lead intact. We'll see if Wooster can carry that momentum into the top of the 5th. We'll be right back with Shenandoah versus Wooster baseball here on ACTV. Next Strasbaugh set to lead things off for Wooster, down 2-4 in the top of the 5th inning. 0 for 1 so far today with a strikeout. Pitch from Clinchock. Big cut there. No balls in, 2 strikes now. Clinchock, 4 Ks on the day, 2 earned runs. Here's pitch number 59. This is outside, 1-2 now. The 1-2. It's a little bloop right into the glove of Rice for out number 1. Strasbaugh handcuffed on that one, off the handle, and that didn't sound good either way.
Probably didn't feel good either.
So that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, third baseman Harry Whitworth Dukes. Popped out to the shortstop his first time up. First pitch from Clinchock in the turf for ball 1. Five hits, 2 runs for Wooster so far. They've also committed an error. That was by the first baseman Crum in the last inning to load the bases. The very next batter would ground into a 4-6-3 double play. Nicely turned by Sturzma and Wilansky.
And Crum really redeemed himself to throw a little bit up line. He made a nice stretch keeping his foot on the bag. Probably the best way to respond to an error is making a dazzling play right after that. Shenandoah not able to capitalize on it. The 2-1 pitch hangs above the letters.
3 balls and 1 strike now. The pitch. Ball 4. Whitworth Dukes is aboard with the 1-out walk. We head back to the top of the Fighting Scots lineup at second baseman Jake Sturzma up to bat. 1 for 2, popped out to second base his first time up, but later had a double in the 3rd inning. He would be stranded by the next batter. First pitch, strike 1. Another one finds the outer black. Sturzma quickly in the hole now, 0-2. Clinchock doing a nice job controlling the pace of the game today. And that fastball misses low. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. There's a high chopper to the 3rd baseman, Rice. Long throw, and it's a bang-bang play, but Sturzma will be out at first. 2 down now. It's Whitworth Dukes makes his way to second base.
A really big hop. He hit that one right in front of the plate. And just another example of how much the ball will jump on this turf. We saw it earlier today in the first game with Wabash and Marietta, with Marietta on the losing end of a couple tough hops going right over their fielders' heads. But this time Shenandoah gets the candy hop off the turf and able to make the play at first.
They don't call it the bounce house for nothing. Nicolay Field provides some interesting plays once in a while. Pitch from Clinchock, a ground ball. Sliding stop by the shortstop. Marcel will try to go to 3rd. Really his only play, but Whitworth Dukes in time. Runners on the corners with 2 outs.
A nice stop by the shortstop Marcel. That one gets through. That's probably going to score Whitworth Dukes.
So it's the 3-hitter now. Shortstop Michael Wilansky, 1 for 2 so far. Singled and scored his last time up. Also stole a base. I'll watch that first pitch offering go by for strike 1. 6th hit of the day for Wooster. The 0-1. In the turf, blocked by Smallwood. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Ball in, 2 strikes now on Wilansky. Shenandoah looking to escape the inning. Pitch from Robert Clinchock. That one foul towards the Shenandoah dugout. Hit the deck. It looks like everybody is okay down there. We've had a couple close calls so far in this game.
Yeah, luckily that ball not hit too hard. It's soft enough for everybody to get out of the way.
We'll start again, the 1-2. Another high hopper to the third baseman, Rice. Long throw. And a pick by Newsman at first, but Wolanski beats it with his speed. And Wooster pulls within one, 4-3 on the infield RBI single.
Just a little swinging bunt really there by Wolanski, and a nice play by Rice. Looked like it had him for a second.
Coach Kevin Anderson thought he did too. He'll have a quick discussion out there, but will lose his argument.
And a nice pick too by Newsman, keeping that one. Well, he picked it cleanly, but if that ball would have gotten by, definitely runners on second and third. Instead, they've only got runners on first and second, still 2 out.
Coach Anderson now heading out to the mound to have a word with Klinchak. Fighting Scots have now scored runs in 2 consecutive innings. That was their 7th hit of the ball game.
And really not a bad pitch, a 1-2 count. Like I said, a little swinging bunt, so it's not like he squared it up. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and so far this inning, Worcester's been pretty darn lucky.
Harwood looks to continue that string of good juju. Runners on first and second, 2 outs. Klinchak will look towards second base. Harwood, 1 for 2 in the game, struck out his last time up, but in the second inning, a single and would later score the first Worcester run of the game. First pitch, pops that one, foul territory in left field. Good and Rice chasing, and it's going to find its way into the Shenandoah bullpen. Should he keep the inning alive, that'd bring up the first baseman, Garrett Crum. Oh, 1 pitch from the southpaw. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Klinchak really working that first base side of the rubber. The 1-1 in the turf, blocked by Smallwood. 2 balls in, 1 strike now on Hardwood. Tying run in scoring position for the Fighting Scots. The 2-1, another one, another blocked by Smallwood. Shenandoah in danger of loading the bases with 2 outs. (3-1). Fouled again towards the Shenandoah dugout.
Little 1-2 step by one of the Shenandoah players down there.
I don't think these Fighting Scots have ever heard not to mess with a hornet's nest.
Oh, that was a good one, Bob.
Got 3 foul balls their way so far. Big pitch here, the 3-2. And a foul ball off of the calf. Not quite the shin as it came up behind him. Count remains the same, 3-2. Worcester crowd getting behind their team, as is the crowd for Shenandoah. Runners will be off on the pitch. The 3-2. Another foul ball, this one off the facade. Shenandoah might need some heart medication with all the foul balls going their way today. We'll try this again. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch from Klinchak. And he rings him up looking. Harwood knew it. And Shenandoah escapes with the lead, 4-3 ball game as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. And we'll see how this thing continues to play out. We'll be right back with more Mideast Regional Baseball here on ACTV. Bottom of inning number 5 here in game number 7 of the Mideast Regional Tournament. Shenandoah holds a 4-3 lead over Wooster. The Fighting Scots keep chipping away. 1 run in the 4th. They scored 1 in the 5th. Shenandoah looking for insurance runs now. First pitch for the designated hitter, Keegan Wolford, is a strike. The 0-1. It's a hard hit ball into left field. Strasbaugh to the track, to the wall, and he will make the catch about 3 feet in front of it for a long out number 1.
We've seen a couple this game off the bat. It looked like it had enough. They're definitely trying out there to put one over.
Quick mound visit with Faxon. Out for his first full inning of work. Came in to relieve Saran. And up now for Shenandoah, it's the catcher Chase Smallwood. 2 RBIs to his name so far. First pitch. Fastball high, 1-0.
Fastball has a lot of late life to it. Just kind of explodes the last 10 feet. Looks like it has a little bit of run too into the right-handers.
That one fouled back into the parking lot. Faxon, his pitching mechanics actually remind me a lot of the pitcher he came in to relieve Saran.
Kind of flip it, a little bit of a mirror there. Faxon the lefty and Saran the right-hander.
1-1 pitch. Just below the strike zone, 2-1.
Robbie, I think you hit that one right on the head. Now looking at it a little closer, it is almost a mirror image. Both of them bringing that throwing elbow back, kind of like a bow, and then just firing it through.
The bow misfired there in the turf. 3 balls and 1 strike now on Chase Smallwood. Pitch from Faxon. There's a line drive on a 1-hopper. Wolanski has it, long throw. Crum not able to handle the pick. I think that will go as an infield single for Smallwood. Thought it was going to get through the box for a second, but nice range there by Wolanski.
Yeah, it kind of died at the last second there, which suggests that Smallwood got it off the end of the bat. Lansky just kind of short hopped the throw. They're going to give him an error for it.
Second of the day for Wooster, second of the day for Crum. Now we'll bring up the left fielder, Nick Good. RBI double his last time up, has also scored a run. He has a man on first with one out. Faxon throw over to first base, but back in time is Chase Smallwood. A couple of LaRoche players starting to congregate over by the pavilion. They're getting ready for game number 8 against the Adrian College Bulldogs. Another fastball from Faxon. This one finds the inner half of the plate for strike one. Now LaRoche and the Bulldogs have faced each other already this season. About 2 weeks ago when the Bulldogs traveled to Pittsburgh. And LaRoche won that one pretty handedly. It's good, sends a towering fly ball into center field. Fling will haul it in for out number 2.
Should be another good game, and 2 games in and halfway through this third one. Just like yesterday in terms of tight competitive ball games, Wabash winning over Marietta by a score of 4-2. And then of course the marathon before this between Otterbein and Ithaca. They ended up going 12 innings before that game was decided by a little slip at shortstop, and Ithaca took that one by a score of 5-4. And of course right now a 4-3 Shenandoah lead, but Wooster continuing to climb back into it.
Faxon trying to keep his team in the ball game. 1-0 pitch to the third baseman, Christian Rice. Two balls in, no strikes. Infield back with 2 outs. The pitch. There's a fastball for strike one.
This is the 8th trip to the regionals for the Hornets, all with Coach Kevin Anderson, and all since 2009. The team has a 23-10 record in regional contests, including back-to-back 4-0 marks.
Well, we've seen teams that have historic programs here, and we've also seen quite a few teams that are about 10, 20 years into their successful run.
Ithaca and Marietta in this Mideast Regional, 2 of the most decorated teams and programs in D3 baseball history. And then you have teams like Shenandoah. Wooster fairly recent with their success. Host Adrian has found a lot of success in the last decade or so.
An errant throw by Whitwer. And Smallwood takes advantage of it. Runners on the corners now with 2 outs. Look to be routine, but Whitwer Dukes deep in the hole. Shenandoah threatening to strike again.
Well, that's going to be the 2nd error of the ball game for Whitwer Dukes. And as we said earlier, Dittman, the starter in yesterday's contest, usually the 3rd baseman when he's not on the bump. But Coach Petterini going with Dukes after his performance yesterday, so we'll see if he keeps him in or if he wants to go back to Dittman after this inning.
Still a force at first or second base. Shortstop Robbie Marcel up to bat. That one blocked by Walls. 1 ball and no strikes. Marcel 0 for 1 on the day, struck out looking his first time up, walked back in the 4th inning, also stole a base before being stranded at third. A quick mound visit for Wooster.
Well, there's 2 outs, but the Fighting Scots have committed 2 errors in this inning. That puts runners at the corners. A base hit here will erase the run that they scored in the top half of this inning.
Coach Barry Craddock going over a game plan with his infield. They will retake their positions now. 1 ball and no strikes on Robbie Marcel, 2 outs. Runners in the corners. Smallwood stands on third base. Christian Rice on first. The offering. Strike at the knees, 1-1.
Well, the winner of this game will play the winner of tonight's LaRoche Adrian contest, whereas the loser will be sent to the losers bracket. They will play Ithaca tomorrow.
This time a foul ball towards the Fighting Scots side. Marcel now finds himself down in the count. 1 ball's in, 2 strikes. Pitch from Faxon. Ball high, even now at 2 apiece. Two to Marcel. And he gets him window shopping with that curveball. Strike 3 to end the threat. And Wooster will head into the top of the 6th inning down 4-3. We'll see if they can score another and make it a tie after scoring in 2 consecutive. We'll be right back with more NCAA baseball here on ECTV. Robert Klinchuk retakes the mound, and we are set to begin inning number 6. 4-3 Shenandoah lead over Wooster. A first pitch ball in the dirt. It's 1-0 on the first baseman, Garrett Crum. This one finds the strike zone, outer half of the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Can't snap off that curveball. It's 2-1 now on Crum.
This will be the 80th offering from Clinchock. Not too bad of a pitch count. A rate of around 17 per inning.
He has the count even now on Garrett Crum, 2-2. Crum, 1 for 2 in the game, singled his first time up, flew out to center last time. He puts that one foul towards the back 40. Still 2-2. The 2-2 on the third base line, but foul. Wind starting to pick up again. Strong gusts coming in from right field. Occasionally turning directions, blowing out to left. We'll see how that factors into the ball game. As Crum works the count full, 3-2. He sends a fly ball into right field. Thompson going towards the wall. Will find its way into the crowd of LaRoche players. Still 3-2. Payoff pitch from Clinchock. Another one, another foul towards the back 40.
Well, Robbie, I just looked at the radar, and it looks like showers will be in the area until around 8 o'clock, but after that, the more severe rain shouldn't be in until around midnight, 1 o'clock.
Hopefully we can get the rest of these games in. It's another foul ball off the bat of Crum, and he's putting up a battle. 3-2 still.
Seems like both pitchers are kind of favoring that outside part of the plate when they get 2 strikes on the hitter, but we've seen both teams really doing a nice job of fighting off those tough outside pitches and putting together some patient at-bats like we saw there.
As Crum draws the leadoff walk. And the energy in this stadium right now, you would think that this is an elimination game.
Well, still only a 1-run ball game. And 2 of the better offensive teams. I know it's hard to say that with the offensive prowess that we've seen in these 8 teams and the statistical feats that they've put up this year, but Shenandoah and Wooster both can change this game with 1 swing of the bat.
I would not be surprised to find either, if not both of these teams in the final. They've both played strong baseball so far. First pitch to Harrison Walls will turn into a pickoff attempt at first. Walls 1 for 2 so far today. A fielder's choice his first time up. Had an RBI double his last time. That'd give Wooster their 3rd run of the ball game. No count. The pitch. Big cut there, but caught him fishing for the off speed. 1 ball and 1 strike. That one's into the left center gap, a base hit and probably more. We'll see if Crum can score on this one. He hits the bag at third and is headed home. Throw cut off, and we have a tie game, 4-4.
Back-to-back at bats for Walls, sending one into the left center gap and splitting good in Delaverne out there. You got to think, Robbie, he didn't even get the start in game 1, came in late when his counterpart had trouble handling pitches behind the plate, and now is making a huge difference in this game.
Still nobody out. Go ahead run in scoring position. So right fielder Drew Torno up to bat. He shows bunt down the third base side. Is Rice going to make a play at first? Throws it away. Walls is going to come in to score, and Wooster has a lead. Is Torno going to head all the way to third? And the Fighting Scots have turned this game in their favor.
The first error of the day for the Hornets. A decent bunt by Torno, but with his speed, it caused Rice to rush the throw. And unfortunately for Shenandoah, he throws it up the line, and it gets far enough to where he uses his speed to motor into third. So not only do they score another run to go up, but now they've got a runner 90 feet away from putting them up by 2 and still no outs.
Coach Anderson gonna come out to the mound. We'll see if he decides to make a pitching change, and he signals to the bullpen. We'll let this mystery man get warmed up as we find out who he is, where he's from, and what is he about. So we'll take a break from the excitement. Wooster with a 5-4 lead now and still threatening, and we'll see how this pans out when we come back on ACTV. Jonathan Dance now joining the party. 5-4 Worcester lead as he relieves Robert Klinchak. And his first pitch in the turf, blocked by Smallwood. Ball 1 to the left fielder, Nick Strasbaugh. As Worcester has scored 2 in this inning. A man on third, nobody out as Torno laid down a bunt on the third base line, thrown way over the head of the first baseman, Newsman. That not only allowed them to score the go-ahead run, but put Torno all the way over to third and 90 feet away from giving them an insurance run. Hopper fouled down the third base side.
Well, that's what they mean by the term speed kills. Torno possesses a lot of speed, as we saw him rounding the bases on that error. But a relatively hard bunt down the third base line, but because he had such great speed, it caused Rice to rush his throw, and that is why he threw it over the head of Turnbull and up the line, or Newsman at first base.
Foul ball by Strasbaugh makes the count 1-2. Stans looking to leave that runner at third base. The pitch in the turf, another block by Smallwood. He's had to do that quite a bit here in game number 7. 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Strasbaugh.
Well, Dance has 13 appearances on the year, 23 innings pitched. He has a 3-0 record, 14 walks, 12 strikeouts, and a 2.74 ERA. Field playing in, trying to cut down that run at the plate.
It's gonna be into the glove of Marcel. Thought it might get over his head for a second. But Strasbaugh saw it off for out number 1.
And that is exactly why they played the infield in there. If Marcel was playing his normal depth, that one would have definitely dropped in front of him. Would have gotten the out at first, most likely, but the run would have scored.
We were talking about how Whitworth Dukes got the start today, even though Dittman's their regular third baseman. Well, now he is in the game with 1 out and a man on third base. First pitch from Dance outside for ball 1. Of course, Dittman, the game 1 starter yesterday, and he went the distance as Wooster beat Wabash. That one through the 5-hole of Smallwood. Torno's gonna score easily, 6-5, Fighting Scots lead.
Well, Smallwood, a few good stops already, but Dance just having trouble as he continues to leave balls in the turf. And unfortunately there, Smallwood just didn't get his glove down in time, like Robbie said, right through the 5-hole. And the Hornets now trail by 2.
2-0 pitch to Dittman again in the turf. Dance. These balls must have a magnet because they keep hitting the turf. It's 3-0 on Dittman. He's going to need to find the strike zone soon. Another one in the turf and to the backstop, and Dittman has a 4-pitch walk. Back to the top of the Wooster lineup. It's Jake Sturzma, 1 for 3, a pop out, a double, and a ground out to the third baseman. Dance still looking to find the strike zone. First pitch again in the turf. It's 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, if Dittman happens to come around and score, he will match his career high in runs in a season.
Dance finally finds the strike zone right there. 1 ball and 1 strike on Sturzma. The pitch. Tries to yank that one down the line, but a little too foul.
A lot of too foul. A little too out in front of that one.
I want to say a little too hard, and then for some reason my brain decided to switch it at the last second. Never a good idea.
Got to go with your gut.
Time is called at home plate. 1-2 count on Sturzma. The pitch from Dance. In the turf, another block by Smallwood, but he can't find it. And Dittman's going to head to second. Another Fighting Scott in scoring position.
Dance continues to leave balls in the turf. Nobody warming up in the Hornets bullpen, but you've got to think if he continues to struggle with his control, they might have to have somebody warm up.
Only 2 strikes so far. And they
will call a balk on Dance. He did not come set.
Coach Anderson coming out for an explanation.
There have been a few balk calls this weekend that I have not agreed with, but that one I definitely saw, as he did not come to a complete set. You have to hold it. Usually the rule of thumb is 1 Mississippi, and that was about 1 Missa by the time he fired to home plate.
Another high foul ball off towards 223. Count still 2-2 on Sturzma. The way he reacted in the batter's box, that's why I kind of hesitate to call anything. Wasn't exactly sure what was going on. I thought maybe Chandler Dittman was just taking advantage of a napping infield, but should have known better. Shenandoah pretty sharp at there as Stantz comes back to strike out the Wooster's second baseman for out number 2.
The Hornets infield was pulled in, trying to keep it a 2-run game, but will now return to normal depth. The third baseman playing a few steps behind the bag at third. That's Rice. Other than that, up the middle playing fairly deep. Another block there by Smallwood. Dan still throwing a lot of turf burners.
That chest protector getting a workout today. Jake Fling up to bat now, the Fighting Scots center fielder, 1 for 3 today. And that one belt high for strike 1. Fly out, ground out, and a single. Looking for a 2-out RBI right here as a man is on third base. And Chandler Dittman, the pitch from Dance, again in the turf. This one's gonna get towards the dugout. And Dittman has just equaled his career high in runs scored, and Wooster now has a 7-4 lead over Shenandoah. 4th run scored in the inning for Wooster.
Another wild pitch, as you can't blame Smallwood. Some of these very tough to block. That one over a little too much, just couldn't quite slide over. It looked like it might have hit his shin guard, took a weird hop, but
another one put in the left center gap to the track, to the wall. And what a catch out there by Delaverne, robbing Fling of a hit. And the inning is over. Top 10 play. And we head to the bottom of the 6th, 7-4, Fighting Scots lead. We'll see how the Hornets respond, and we'll see if Delaverne is going to come off of cloud 9 on that robbing, sliding catch. And don't you touch that clicker or change that channel, because we'll be back on ACTV. Shenandoah now finds themselves behind as we head to the bottom of inning number 6. 7-4 Worcester lead after scoring 4 in the top half. And it's 9-1 to due up for the Hornets, starting with the center fielder, Henry Delaverne. who made probably the best play we've seen so far in this tournament, sprawling out at the track to rob the leadoff man Sturzma of a hit. Faxon fires a fastball outside. 2-0 now on Delaverne. One defensive change for the Fighting Scots. Dittman staying in at third, taking over for Whitworth Dukes. The 2-0 at the shins. 3 balls and no strikes now. Sturzma having a quick conversation with his teammate. Like we've been saying all tournament with all of these teams, in this case Shenandoah, you cannot count them out. As we've seen, a lead is not safe in any situation here this week. The 3-0 pitch. Ball high. Delaverne aboard with the leadoff walk. Head back to the top of the Shenandoah lineup. It's the right fielder, Grant Thompson, up to bat. He's 0 for 2 so far. 2 groundouts to the first baseman, but had a sacrifice bunt his last time up.
With picture-perfect technique, I might add.
First pitch from Faxon. Straight gas at the knees, 0-1.
Delaverne has 11 steals on the year, but keeping close at the bag with the lefty Faxon on the mound.
And a nice play by the Shenandoah first base coach down there, playing it off the wall. Not only showing the soft hands, but he got in throwing position, showing his players how it's done. Oh, and 2 on Grant Thompson now. The pitch from Faxon goes to a knee, but can't connect, and it's strike 3 for out number 1. That brings up the second baseman, Tristan Baker now. 1 for 3, a fly out, a single, reached on an error his last time up. And a pickoff move to first, Delaverne back in time. Dittman even with the bag over at third base. First pitch from Faxon pounds the strike zone, 0-1. No action brewing in the Shenandoah bullpen, so Jonathan Dance will probably come out for his first full inning of work as that one fouled into the netting. Snowballs and 2 strikes now. And the second baseman, Baker.
Hopefully he has a little better control, spiking a lot of pitches. As one of the 4 runs back in the top of this inning came via a pass ball, another on a wild pitch.
The 0-2. He rings him up looking, second consecutive strikeout for Evan Faxon, and there are 2 down now in the bottom of the 6th. But now is the 3-hitter, number 4, Luke Newsman. 1 for 3 so far. Struck out in the first inning. A single and a run scored. Also a stolen base back in the third, and in the fourth, a 4-6-3 double play. Off for second base is Delaverne. Throw from Walls. A 1-hopper in there, and Delaverne with the stolen base. Man in scoring position.
Faxon forgot about Delaverne down there. I don't think we saw a pickoff throw his way. So Delaverne alertly moving up with Faxon's forgetfulness about him.
1-0 now on Luke Neusman. The pitch. Big cut there, can't connect. There may have been some miscommunication there, as even though they got the strike, Walls wants to have a quick conversation.
Well, with Delaverne on second, he's got a better look in at the signs that Walls is throwing down, so they might be out there switching things up so he's not relaying anything to the batter Neusman.
1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch turns out of the way, but finds the zone. 1-2 now. Payoff pitch. That one popped high into right field. Torno will have to drift back into fair territory, but he'll make the catch for out number 3 as the Hornets get their leadoff man aboard, but Wooster Fighting Scots leave them stranded, and we'll head to the top of the 7th. Still a 7-4 Wooster lead. Don't you swipe away from this YouTube channel, because we'll be right back with more Mideast action on ACTV. Top of the 7th inning, Wooster getting back to work as they try to add to this 7-4 lead over Shenandoah in game number 7 of the Mideast Regional Tournament in the year 2018. Jonathan Dance back to work in a first pitch strike. It is 0-1 now. Big cut there by Wilansky. Quickly in the hole, 0-2. Wilansky 2 for 3 so far. Pop up, 2 singles, one of which is an infield. Also has a stolen base, a run scored, and an RBI. Now, as we've seen from his career stats, he can pretty much do everything on the field. 1-2. That one fouled towards the Shenandoah dugout once again. 1 ball and 2 strikes still.
Well, if you're just joining us and expecting to see the LaRoche Adrian game, well, that is going to be in probably another hour or so.
Wilansky line drive into left field, leadoff single. As good, had a little bit of trouble, came up and handcuffed him. And Wooster continues to brew. Another leadoff man on. And as Cody was saying, Game 8 was originally scheduled for 7:45. We're only in inning number 7 here in game number 7. as game number 6 between Ithaca and Otterbein went to 12 innings. That one ended about 5 o'clock, really. An exciting, nail-biting game, and of course, after the press conference and getting everything set up for this game, started at right around 5:30, so everything has been pushed back. Going to be a late night here at Nicolay Field. At the same time, it's going to be a fun night. 1-0 is the count on the designated hitter, Dan Harwood. Pitch from Dance. Outside, skids on the turf. 2 balls and no strikes. Harwood 1 for 3. Single and a run scored his first time up. Has struck out twice since then. Once swinging and once looking. The 2-0. Sends a high fly ball deep into right field. To the track, to the wall, and it's going to be off the base of the wall. Wolanski's going to hit the bag at third and slow up, and Harwood. A double puts 2 men in scoring position for the Fighting Scots as Thompson had to chase that one deep in the hole, and it falls between him and Delaverne.
Yeah, off the bat, we thought that was going to get out. Just hits it right to the right center gap. And Thompson looked like he had a beat on it. That's why Wolanski is on third. He had to hold up slightly. But like we mentioned before, no warning track here at Nicolay Field. He found the fence but kind of lost the ball once he did that. And the ball just hits about 2 feet to his right.
So that brings up the first baseman, Garrett Crum. Ball low and outside, 1-0. Crum 1 for 2 so far. A single, a fly out, walked his last time up. Scored that first run in the 4-run 6th. The pitch from Dance. Outer black, 1-1. That one's hit into right field. Thompson has it measured. He'll make the catch. Wolanski tagging from third, and they can't cut it off as it gets to the dugout. Past 2 men. Dance will finally settle it in his glove. And the Fighting Scots with an 8-4 lead now. Harwood also tagged and got to third on the play, so potential 9th run 90 feet away with 1 out.
The Hornets now have an arm warming up in the bullpen. Not sure who it is, but it looks like a sidewinder. Possibly number 49, Tyler Riddenauer.
1-0 on the catcher, Harrison Walls. 2 RBI doubles in the game. So he had 1 back in the 4th inning, 1 in the 6th. Also reached on a fielder's choice.
He split that left center gap twice in a row. Both hard line drive shots.
And still a big gap right where he hit it. As he puts it over the shortstop's head and into left field. Won't split the gap, but it will drive in Harwood, and it is a 9-4 Fighting Scots lead. Marcel, no chance on that one.
We've got a pinch runner now for Walls. That'll be number 3, Gabe Sherman, a freshman shortstop.
And up now to the plate. It's the right fielder, Drew Torno. Hitless so far today, 2 strikeouts, but reached on that error by Rice. will later come around to score in the last inning. "12 hits so far on the night for Wooster. Scored 9 runs. Shenandoah, 4 runs on 6 hits, 4 errors combined between the two teams, 3 for the Fighting Scots and 1 for the Hornets. The 1 for the Hornets really came back to bite them in the butt. Wooster able to play through their miscues.
Well, did it bite them or did it sting them? After all, they are Hornets.
I was gonna let it slide, but once you explain a pun, it's all lost, so you lost some credibility there, bud.
I feel that explaining it usually adds to the humor.
I think that's only in the case of the person making the pun. It's off for second base. And that's gonna fall in the corner. Or excuse me, it was caught. And a close play at first base. But Sherman gets back in time. A great catch by the left fielder, Good.
Yeah, that took Good all the way to the corner out there. And a nice relay by Marcel made the play a lot closer than I thought it was gonna be. But Sherman able to scamper back in there. He was past second base, so he had to go back, retouch second, and then motor back into first.
I think he might have thought that ball fell just like I did. Lost sight once it got into the corner as that fence jags out about 100 feet before the wall. Instead, another highlight reel play by a Shenandoah outfielder. Two down, and it's the left fielder, Nick Strasbaugh, up to bat. 0 for 3 with a strikeout and 2 pop-ups. 1 to the third baseman, 1 to the shortstop, Marcel. Pitch from Dance. Inside, 1-0. That one right in the middle of the zone, 1-1. Another one outside, just above the turf, 2-1.
Well, Strasbaugh actually joined the Wooster football team as a sophomore after only playing baseball as a first-year student. And he's actually quite the wide receiver. He tied the NCAA record with 17 receiving touchdowns and is already 5th on Wooster's career list, and that was his first season this past football year. He's also the second 1,000-yard receiver in program history and ended the year as the Scots' single-season leader in yards with 1,294 and touchdowns with his 17. So a multi-sport athlete up at the plate here for Wooster.
Three and 2 count now on Nick Strasbaugh. Pitch from Dance, and he's caught fishing as he almost lets go with the bat. Out number 3. But the Fighting Scots scored 2 more runs, 9-4 ball game. Time for the 7th inning stretch. I know we'll do it up in the press box. We hope you do it at home too. Maybe refresh your beverage. It's about 8 o'clock on the dot, so maybe get yourself some dessert. Last night we suggested cookies and cream, so maybe maybe a brownie or a cupcake this time, but
oh yeah.
make sure you stretch the hammies, and we'll be right back on ACTV. Welcome back. Bottom of inning number 7. And the first pitch with the designated hitter, Keegan Wolford, in the back. He's aboard. Just take me out to the ball game. Plays in the background. We got our stretch on up here. We hope you were able to stretch the quads, maybe in the calves at home. Got yourself a nice warm brownie with some vanilla ice cream to finish out this ball game. So it is a 9-4 Fighting Scots lead over the Hornets. A new pitcher for Wooster. Excuse me, a new catcher. Got my words mixed up. It's Tanner Kaplan. Now throwing down the signs behind the plate. Evan Faxon still out on the mound as he continues to grind it out. Looking for his 4th inning of work now. The 1-0 pitch just inside to the catcher, Chase Smallwood, for ball 2.
You know, we've had a pretty nice spread here for the media and all the SID personnel here. We had chicken for lunch today. I don't know where it was from, but it was pretty good. But haven't seen any ice cream yet. We might have to talk to some people, see if they can bring some out here tomorrow.
Well, I'll let you talk to them. I'm okay with taking whatever free food they give me, but you're right. The spread this week has been great so far. Got some pizza yesterday, some chicken wings today, a nice fruit selection, a cracker tray. And Chase Smallwood is aboard with a walk. So a hit by a pitch and a walk later, and Shenandoah trying to get back in this ball game. Coach Petterini headed out to the mound, and it looks like Fax's day might be done. Faxon hands the ball over. 9-4 Wooster lead. We'll be right back as we let the mystery man get some warm-up throws in while we find out who he is and what he's about. If he can strand these 2 Hornet runners as Faxon gets a hand from the crowd in the dugout. Make sure you keep it tuned right here to ACTV. Number 24, Andrew Hill, now on the mound for the Fighting Scots as they hold on to a 9-4 lead here in game number 7. Bottom of inning number 7, and Shenandoah has 2 on with nobody out. And the catcher Chase Smallwood up to bat. 2 RBIs so far today, 2 singles. He takes a first pitch strike from Andrew Hill.
Well, Hill has appeared in 14 games. This is his 15th appearance. He's pitched 27 1/3 innings, owns a 5.27 ERA, 19 batters struck out. He's issued 12 base on balls.
And a ground ball over to the shortstop. Polanski. He'll flip to second for 1. High throw all the way to the fence. And Newsman, close play. They got him. What looked to be an easy run on the air is instead a heads-up play by Wooster. There are 2 down now with a man on first.
Yeah, that throw just gets away from Sturzma, but must have bounced right back to Crum, in the strong throw right on the bag. He was going to have to take a perfect throw, really, to get the runner Wolford, and that's exactly what it was. As the catcher Kaplan just drops his glove right on the foot of the Shenandoah DH.
A big cut right there by the third baseman Christian Rice.
And Good unable to move up to second as well on that play. So he is still over on first.
Pitch from Hill. Just below the knees. 2 balls in, 1 strike now. And a big cut there. Even now at 2 apiece. Should he keep the inning going, that'd bring up the third baseman, or excuse me, the shortstop, Robbie Marcel. The 2-2. Fouls that one off the shin. Still 2 balls in, 2 strikes. Good, a healthy lead at first base. The 2-2 ground ball through the right side hole for a base hit. So despite the double play, Shenandoah not giving up on this inning. 2 on with 2 outs.
Nice piece of hitting there by Rice. The 2-2 pitch. Doesn't try to do too much, just stays inside that ball, a little ground ball. It sneaks through the right side hole, putting runners on first and second now with 2 outs. And when you're down by 5, that's really what you want to do. Just start playing station-to-station baseball, because you're not going to take the lead on a 5-run home run. That's just impossible.
7th hit of the night now for Shenandoah. Trail by 5 runs. And time is called. Pinch hitter now for Shenandoah. That's number 53, Jamie Nail, up to the bat in place of Robbie Marcel.
Nail 30 hits and 94 at-bats this year for a .319 average. And the junior infielder also has 23 runs driven in and 26 runs scored.
Seeing his first action of this 2018 Mideast tournament. Pitch from Hill in the turf and through the 5-hole of Kaplan. Both runners are going to move up. And Shenandoah now has runners on second and third with 2 outs.
Not the best game for either backstop today. Kaplan coming in for Wells. As a catcher, ball in the dirt. What you want to do is you want to get your glove down first, try to cover up the 5-hole, then bring your hips and knees to the glove, tuck the chin, and try to keep it in front of you.
Well, Hill will have to buckle down now and get that out. A base hit will surely score 2 runs. A big cut there. He drops to a knee, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nail not cheated on that swing.
No, trying to pull within 1 with 1 swing of the bat. One of the bigger cuts that we've seen in this Mideast regional tourney.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners on second and third. Time called. Should he keep the inning alive, that'd bring up center fielder Henry Delaverne. 1-2 from Hill. He can't get nailed to chase the off speed. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Big pitch for Wooster. And a tapper back to the shortstop. Rolanski charging and a throw to finish it off. Shenandoah leaves 2 men stranded, and we head to the top of the 8th inning. 9-4 Wooster lead. And how do you think this game's going to play out? We'll find out next on ACTV. You heard the public address announcer Dave Van Giesen right there. Chandler Dittman in to lead things off here in the top of inning number 8. Shenandoah with a 9-4 lead. Excuse me, Wooster with a 9-4 lead. I looked down at my notes too quickly. Lost my train of thought. Either way, the Fighting Scots looking to add some runs, as no lead has been safe in this tournament. Jonathan Dance out for another inning of work. And a strike on the outer black makes it 2-1. He's had trouble finding the strike zone so far, but has managed to be semi-effective. Coach Anderson will stick with them, and you got to give it to him. He's been grinding and making a gutsy performance out of this one as Dittman sends a long fly ball into center field. De La Verne have to range back on that one, but makes the out.
Well, the Hornets took a 4-1 lead into the 4th inning, but since then, the Fighting Scots have put up 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, 4 in the 6th, and 2 in the 7th. And also since the 3rd, they have shut down the Shenandoah Bats. That is how we got to this 9-4 score. 12 hits for Wooster so far. They've committed 3 errors, but luckily for them, they have minimized the effects of those blunders. Meanwhile, Shenandoah 7 hits on the day, and they have made 1 costly error.
When you say costly, it was costly. So it allowed Torno to get all the way to third base, also score a run. And Torno would eventually score himself, so several runs a result of that throwing error by the third baseman, Rice. 2-0 is the count on the leadoff man, Jake Sturzma. 1 for 4, a pop out, a double, a ground out, and a strikeout his last time up. And he draws the 1-out walk. I'll bring up the center fielder, Jake Fling. Also 1 for 4. He has a fly out, a ground out to the shortstop, singled back in inning number 5 and flew out to the center fielder in inning number 6. Not just a fly out though, a spectacular diving catch by De La Verne up against the wall. So in reality, any other play, any other day, and it would have been a 2 for 4 performance so far by Fling. Runner off for second base. Soft ground ball to third. Rice with a long throw. And it was almost a repeat of that 6th inning, but instead, Nussman able to come down with it for out number 2. Sturzma moves up to second base. So that will bring up the shortstop, Michael Wilansky. 3 for 4, popped out to the pitcher his first time up, but since then, 3 singles, an RBI, 2 runs scored, and also has a stolen base to his name. One and 0 count. Pitch from Jonathan Dance. At the knees, 1 ball and 1 strike now. Should Wilansky keep the inning going, that'd bring up designated hitter Dan Harwood. The 1-1 pitch in the turf. Nice block there by Smallwood. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, Wilansky not just a star for Wooster. In 2017, he was the Valley Baseball League MVP, which was a summer wood bat league, in which he led the league in average on-base percentage, slugging, hits, runs, and doubles in the 42-game season. To give those numbers, he hit .432 with a .489 on base, .677 slugging, 67 hits, 38 runs, and 18 doubles. Still only a junior.
Hard ground ball to the third baseman, Rice. And that throw right into the chest of Nussman for out number 3. So the Fighting Scots threaten, but leave him on. And we'll head to the bottom of inning number 8. Still a 5-run lead for Wooster. And we'll see if Shenandoah can start carving into that lead. We'll be right back here on ACTV. Shenandoah running out of outs here. They trail by a score of 9-4 to the Wooster Fighting Scots, and it's their number 9 hitter, Henry Delaverne, up to the plate. A check swing, but can't hold up. It's going to be a close play at first. The flip, and Hill can't hang on. Believe that will be ruled an infield single, and that's the second check swing single we've seen tonight.
It looked like Hill was going to be able to make a play on that one. Last second kind of pulled off. So I don't know if Crum told him that he was going to take it and to instead cover first, but another instance of better to be lucky than good.
That'll bring us back to the top of the Hornets lineup. It's right fielder Grant Thompson up to bat. 0 for 3 so far, 2 groundouts. Struck out his last time up, but back in the 4th inning, he had a sacrifice bunt back to the pitcher. First pitch from Hill, over the head of Wolanski into left field for a base hit. Delaverne's gonna end up on third as he was trucking all the way. Runners on the corners with no outs.
In perfect opposite field hitting there by Thompson, practically taking that ball out of Kaplan's glove and just serving it up into left field.
2 straight hits now for Shenandoah. They're putting the pressure on Wooster. Up to the plate is the second baseman Tristan Baker. The first pitch manages to find that bottom left corner of the plate. 0-1. The 0-1 drops a curveball in there. Quickly up.
The Fighting Scots up by 5 runs, so I'm sure they would be okay with exchanging a run here for a double play.
Kaplan sets up outside, but this one will fall low. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. The 1-2 from Hill. Jams him, ground ball to the third baseman, dipped him for 2nd to 1, relay. And a routine 5-4-3 double play around the horn. Shenandoah run comes in to score, so it is now 9-5, but there's 2 outs, and I'm sure the Fighting Scots will gladly trade that run.
Well, at this point, it's just all about getting outs. And now instead of having to get 6 outs, they only have to get 4 outs before moving on and staying in the winner's bracket.
Shenandoah will now have to start a 2-out rally with the bases empty. It's the first baseman, Luke Neusman. 1 for 3, singled in the 3rd, but also has a strikeout and also grounded into a double play. The 1-1 pitch from Hill. That one paints the outside corner. 1-2 now. The offering drops to a knee. And a great job there by Neusman to even get a piece of that pitch, as that was a dirty curveball.
Yeah, that one started off about mid-thigh, dropped right off the table, and able to get just the top of the baseball, stay alive there.
Still 1 ball and 2 strikes on Neusman. Pitch just a bit outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Wooster dugout wanted that one. The 2-2. Another foul ball off towards 223. Count remains the same. Well, should he keep this inning alive, that'd bring up the designated hitter, Keegan Wolford. Hit by a pitch his last time up. And another foul ball into the third base side netting. The 2-2. This one chopped towards the Wooster dugout. Hand shot out of the railing as it was soft enough. They wanted Souvenir City, not just for the young fans out there, but also for the players on the dugout. The 2-2 pitch from Hill, high. Newsman works the count full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. (3-2). Ground ball over to first base. And Crum will get it on the hop and tag first for out number 3. Shenandoah gets a run back to make it 5-9. And we will head to the top of the 9th with the Wooster lead. They'll try to add just a couple more insurance runs. And we'll see if the assistant SID director, Corey Graham, can finish his chicken wings within the break. And we'll let you know when we come back on ECTV. Top of the 9th inning here in game number 7 of the tournament between Shenandoah and Wooster. And the Fighting Scots hold on to a 9-5 lead here in the top of the 9th, looking for some insurance runs. And if you're wondering, yes, Corey Graham did finish his chicken wings during the break. Now pitching for Shenandoah, it's number 28, CJ Morton. Fires straight gas coming out of the pen. A first pitch strike for the designated hitter, Dan Harwood. Curveball can't snap off that first attempt. It's 1-1 now.
Well, Morton only 4 innings of work this year. It's given up 3 earned runs for a 6.75 ERA, 5 strikeouts to 6 base on balls.
Another fastball. This one falls low. 2-1. Another fastball low, and Harwood up in the count now. 3 balls and 1 strike. The pitch, low in the turf, and it's a leadoff walk for Dan Harwood. Up now is the first baseman, Garrett Crum. Sacrifice fly to the right fielder his last time up. So has a single and a walk, has scored a run. The first pitch, fastball that hangs outside, 1-0.
This is the 5th inning where Wooster has put their leadoff man aboard. Once by a walk, which was Harwood. The other 4 times by a hit. Excuse me, a walk also led off their 6th inning.
Snap throw over to first. Harwood back in time. Still a few faithful fans out on the center field hill. Getting into that Adrian student body spirit. That is a favorite spot of theirs during the baseball season.
Still haven't seen any couches hauled out there. I'm not sure if that's a ticketing thing. Would you think they'd charge them more if they wanted to bring out some household furniture?
Still early in the tournament. You might see one at some point. Especially Sunday, supposed to be a nice day for championship baseball. You're going to want a good seat for that. Count is 2-1 on Garrett Crum. Pitch from Norton, off for second base is Harwood. The throw from Smallwood, not in time. A stolen base puts a runner in scoring position. The 2-2. Ground ball back up the middle. Baker has it, will throw into first. And in and out of the glove of Newsman. Second error of the day for Shenandoah. There are runners on the corners, still nobody out.
That is a play that has to be made, especially for the Hornets trailing by 4. You don't want to give up a run that'll put you within 5, or excuse me, make the lead a 5-run deficit. But that's exactly what they did. Newsman just drops the ball. And now Harwood stands 90 feet away from making their bottom of the 9th just that much tougher.
Well, up to bat now is the catcher Harrison Walls. Pick in the turf. 2 balls and no strikes. Excuse me, that's not Harrison Walls. It is his defensive replacement, Tanner Kaplan, up to the plate right now. Three and 0 now on Kaplan. The pitch. Ball low, and Wooster now has the bases loaded with nobody out. Coach Anderson coming out to the mound. There is a Hornet warming up in the bullpen. We'll see if he goes to him right away. And he is, in fact, trotting in from left field. We'll let this mystery man warm up, find out who he is and if he can stop the bleeding for the Hornets. And we'll be right back here on ACTV. Welcome back to the top of the 9th inning. Wooster with a 9-5 lead and a new pitcher for Shenandoah. It's number 49, Tyler Rittenauer. Now, if you're wondering why the lengthy delay on about his 4th warm-up toss, he slipped out on the mound, as we mentioned. Just a thin layer of turf out there, so when it gets wet, these pitchers have been slipping. We've already seen it quite a few times this afternoon. He hit it hard. Luckily, he was okay, but he went and changed his shoes with something with a little more grip.
You know, we were a little worried there. He was definitely in some pain, a little slow to get up. Walking around the mound for a minute, we thought that he was going to be pulled before he even threw a pitch, but luckily he was able to walk it off.
He now has Drew Torno in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes. The pitch, low, 1-2. The Fighting Scots have the bases loaded with nobody out. They're looking to tack on insurance runs and add to that 4-run lead. Infield playing in. The 1-2 to the backstop. Runners are going to hold as that one almost hit Torno.
Harwood thought about it for a second, took about 6 steps off the bag at third, but he decided to retreat. Rittenauer, 11 appearances on the year so far. He has 3 saves in 10 2/3 innings pitched. He has struck out 7 batters, walked 8, and owns a 1.69 ERA.
Looking to leave all 3 runners stranded. The 2-2 to Torno. He fouls that one into the netting. Still 2-2 if you're just joining us. A 9-5 Wooster lead here in the 9th inning. And if you're here for the LaRoche-Adrian game, that one will be starting 20 minutes after the conclusion of this one. Game number 2 on the day between Ithaca and Otterbein went to 12 innings, so all the games were pushed back. So like we said, Adrian versus LaRoche coming up 20 minutes after the conclusion of this one. The problem we were worrying about is the rain moving into the area. I'm starting to feel some raindrops once again.
If you look up at the lights, it's definitely starting to pick up again.
And that one to the backstop. Doesn't matter though, because it's ball 4, and Rittenauer walks in the 10th Wooster run of the ball game.
Well, he averages almost a walk an inning, but definitely not what you want to do, especially coming into a bases loaded situation. The Hornets now trail by 5.
So we have a pinch hitter now for the Wooster Fighting Scots. And a big swing there by number 23, Dan Gale, in replace of the left fielder, Nick Strasbaugh. Yo one tries to hold his swing, but not able to, says the first base umpire, Justin Birchie. 0-2 now on Gale.
Well, Gale actually started behind the plate for Wooster yesterday, was later lifted for Walls.
And he hits that one hopper to the shortstop. He'll fire to home for 1, and that is all they will get as Marcel heads up play. 1 down, still bases loaded. Excuse me, that was Marcel's replacement, Nail. Forgot to write that in my depth chart.
What a nice play by Nail. Like Robbie said, the backhanded shortstop, or excuse me, the backhanded short hop that he fielded cleanly and then threw a strike to home plate to get the force there and keep it at a 5-run deficit. Bases still loaded, but a double play now will get them out of the inning.
A first pitch curveball in there to the third baseman, Chandler Dittman. It's 0-1. Another one at the knees. Dittman quickly in the hole now, 0-2. No one sails just a bit outside. 1 ball and 2 strike now on the third baseman. Kaplan at third base, Tourneau at second. Gale over at first base, ground ball foul on the first base side. Rittenauer gets the sign, the 1-2 inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Breeze shifting directions again, this time blowing straight in from right field. The 2-2 inside again, and Dittman works a full count. The 3-2 in the turf. Rittenauer walks in another 11-5 Fighting Scots lead, still only 1 out.
Tough at bat there if you're the Hornets. Rittenauer put Dittman in a hole 0-2, but then throws 4 straight outside of the strike zone. That is the 4th base on balls issued by the Hornets in this 9th inning.
Shenandoah will now have to face the top of the Fighting Scots lineup. It's the second baseman, Jake Sturzma. Base on balls his last time up. Oh, 1. Outside, off the mitt of Smallwood, but runners will hold. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Rittenauer already at 17 pitches in the inning. 1-1 pitch. Outside again. 2 balls and 1 strike. Corners pulled in for Shenandoah.
Well, looking at his line coming into today, Rittenauer has struggled with his control, but Robbie, do you think that slip on the mound in his warm-ups has anything to do with his struggles here tonight?
It may have taken him out of the zone just a little bit. Not sure if you can blame his woes on that, but another thing is that it is raining pretty hard out there, so hard to get a grip on the ball. That one sliced foul off the roof of the pavilion. Count now full, 3-2 on Sturzma. Payoff pitch. Inside, and another run walked in. Wooster, a 12-5 lead, and Coach Anderson coming out to the mound. It looks like Rittenauer's day might be done. And it is in fact over as he'll head back to the dugout. We'll let the mystery man warm up, find who he is, what he's done, and if he can end this inning and keep Wooster slightly at bay as they take a 7-run lead at the least into the bottom of the 9th. We'll be right back here on ACTV. Number 48, Cole Dubois, now pitching for Shenandoah. Bases still loaded for Wooster. A 12-5 lead here in the top of the ninth. Only one out. And Dubois throws a curveball in there for strike one. Rain really starting to come down here at Nicolay Field, and we still have a game on the slate for tonight. That's starting 20 minutes after this one. Adrian versus LaRoche. As Jake Fling chases the high cheddar down in the count now, 0-2.
Dubois, 10 appearances this year, 10 1/3 innings pitched. He has 1 win and 1 save. He's also struck out 7 batters, walked 5, and owns a 2.61 ERA.
And he chases the high cheddar again, but the trap snaps shut. There's now 2 down here in the top of the ninth.
Well, after Hornet pitchers walking 5 in the ninth, Dubois comes in, throws 3 straight strikes.
So that will bring up the shortstop, Michael Wilansky, trying to drive in a couple more insurance runs. They lead by 7. You never want to strand runners on base. First pitch from Dubois at the knee, strike one, and he's coming out firing strikes. That one in the turf, blocked by Smallwood. Looks like it may have missed the padding there as he drops down to all fours for a split second. Well, Shenandoah has a bullpen to work with, as you've seen today. Their starter yesterday, Colin Morse, went the distance through all 9 innings, only giving up 2 earned runs. So Anderson has definitely had options today. 1-1 pitch, foul tipped into the glove. 1-2 now on Wilansky. The 1-2 in the turf and to the backstop. As Gale's going to come in to score easily. 13-5 Wooster lead. And now a man on second and third with 2 outs. And like we said, that rain really coming down now at Nicolay Field. Making it tough on the pitcher Dubois to get a good grip on that ball.
Well, I mentioned earlier, Sell moving through. Looked like it was going to be out by the start of the LaRoche-Adrian game, but hanging around a little longer. So we'll see how it affects the next game and also the end of this one.
And he gets Dubois window shopping right there for strike 3. But Wooster scores 4 more runs. They take a 13-5 lead into the bottom of the ninth. Last chance at bats for Shenandoah. They need to start scoring in quickly here in this rain-fueled night. Do you think they can do it? We're sure about to find out here on ACTV. Don't you go anywhere. Time to pay the piper if you're the Shenandoah Hornets, down 13-5. And the Fighting Scots bring in number 40, Wyatt Lind, to close things down as the rain keeps on pouring here at Nicolay Field. 0-1 on the designated hitter, Keegan Wolford. That one low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, we saw the wet balls affect the pitchers for Shenandoah. We'll see if Wooster can control it a little bit better. It's going to be a tough task out there. The 1-1 at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Wolford.
Well, Lind, 25 appearances on the year, 3-0 record. In 25 and a third innings pitched, he has 18 strikeouts, make it 19 now. 11 walks and a 2.84 ERA.
You dust him off right there with some high cheddar, but the trap snaps shut for out number 1. Catcher Chase Smallwood now digging into the batter's box. And Lind right back on the rubber. He's ready to end this thing. First pitch fastball. Misses just below the knees. The Wooster dugout a little bit confused by the call, but it's 1-0. That one manages to scrape that bottom line of the strike zone. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch from Lind. Another strike outside part of the plate. Smallwood doesn't agree. He's in a hole now. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Lind, quick pace. As soon as he gets that ball back, he's ready to go. Just loses the grip on that one. 2-2 now. Wind once again blowing out from right to left field. The 2-2. Just a bit high. Count runs full now. 3-2 on Smallwood.
This game right around the 3.5 hour mark now. And I'm sure both teams just want to get out of this weather, put their heads on the pillow and start thinking about tomorrow.
I'm sure Shenandoah would love a comeback win right here. Smallwood putting up a battle. Still 3-2 with 1 out. That one right back up the gut. Base hit into center field. Smallwood aboard with a 1 out single. Shenandoah not done yet. So up now is the left fielder, Nick Good. A walk, a stolen base, RBI double back in the 3rd inning. Since then, a fly out and reached on an error. First pitch from Lind. High, ball 1. Hornets carried an early 4-1 lead heading into the 4th inning, where Wooster tacked on 1. And they continue to do that. 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, and then it was broke wide open. 4 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, and then 4 in the 9th. Meanwhile, Shenandoah, 2 runs in the 2nd and 3rd, and they have been stagnant until the 8th, where they tacked on 1 more to make it a 5-13 score, where we sit now. 1-1 pitch from Lind. Hard ground ball into the glove of a sliding Crum. And there are now 2 down. Smallwood moves up to second base. But the Hornets down to their final strikes. It's the 3rd baseman, Christian Rice, up to bat. Into the 9 o'clock hour now. This game started at 5:30. First pitch. Ball high, 1-0. 2 long games today. Now the one before this went into extra innings, so that was kind of self-explanatory. But this one, a 9-inning game, but once Wooster started attacking on the runs, we started seeing it. But once again, the score does not reflect the play. Shenandoah have been putting up a battle this entire 9 innings.
Yeah, it's basically just been a slugfest. If you look up at the scoreboard, 18 runs between the two, 22 hits, a couple defensive miscues. You don't normally see 5 errors between 2 teams of this caliber, especially with Wooster out there, who has one of the top defenses in the nation. But nonetheless, it has been another entertaining ball game.
Shenandoah has been squaring the ball up the whole game. They just have not been able to find the holes like Wooster has.
It's definitely harder to come back from an 8-run deficit than it is a 2, 3, or 4-run deficit. Unfortunately, Hornet pitchers in the 9th inning just unable to find the strike zone, walking in a few runs and making that lead a little more insurmountable.
That fastball from Lynn just misses low. Protest coming from the Fighting Scots dugout. The count is 3-0 on the third baseman, Rice. The offering. That one finds the strike zone. 3 balls and 1 strike now. Wind shifting again. Now starting to feel some raindrops here in the press box. Try to keep it off of all our electrical equipment. The 3-1. Outer black, and the count runs full, 3-2. This Wooster crowd starting to get into it. They can feel the final strike. The payoff pitch, just a bit outside, and Christian Rice draws the walk. Hornets continuing the battle in this rain-soaked 9th. Up now is the shortstop, Nail. So he looks to keep the 2-out rally going. Ball high, 1-0. One ball and no strikes. Now 1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch from Lind, just a bit low. 2 balls and 1 strike, and the home plate umpire, Kyle Reese, not giving any gifts here. He keeps the same strike zone.
Not letting that weather affect him, staying warm in his stylish jacket.
Another ball inside. 3 balls and 1 strike. Three and 1 now on Nail. The pitch. And he hits that outer black. 3 balls and 2 strikes now. Once again, the Wooster crowd getting into it. The payoff pitch rings him up looking for strike 3. Nail thought he drew the walk. But that is how this game will end, and the Fighting Scots keep on going through the winner's bracket. They take it by a score of 13-5, and Shenandoah now moves on to elimination. And in a game that we almost saw everything, Cody, wrap it up for us very quickly.
Just a slugfest, 18 runs between the Hornets and the Fighting Scots. Both teams will want to clean up the defensive miscues. 3 errors by Wooster, 2 by Shenandoah. But a hard-fought game. The end score does not reflect the majority of the game. Shenandoah just unable to find the strike zone in the 9th, with Wooster putting up a 4 spot. But Shenandoah will now face Ithaca in an elimination game, whereas Wooster will face the winner of this next game, LaRoche versus Adrian, which hopefully the rain starts to clear up. Still falling relatively hard here.
Yes, like Cody said, Shenandoah now down to their final possible loss. The next time they feature an L in the box score, they will be done for the season, taking on Ithaca in elimination game number 9. That's going to take place tomorrow. First game up at 10 a.m. Meanwhile, Wooster will go on to face the winner of LaRoche and Adrian. That game's going to take place at 4:30 tomorrow. So again, Shenandoah playing at 10, Wooster playing at 4:30. Now, if you've been following along with the press conferences during the post game, there will not be one for this one due to the inclement weather, the time of the day, and a quick turnaround as we're going to play game number 4 within the next 20 minutes. There will be no press conference. Once again, if you're tuning in for Adrian versus LaRoche, that's going to happen in right about 20 minutes on the dot, as we'll have a late game under the lights. If inclement weather pushes it, we will let you know on our social media pages. Again, Wooster takes the win over Shenandoah by a score of 13-5. We'll see you just in a few minutes. And once again, this has been Robbie Alexander with my colleague Cody Alexander. Thank you for tuning in to ACTV for all your NCAA regional baseball. And until next time, keep it classy, keep it fun, and keep it tuned here to ACTV.